Good morning, Sandy Levesque here. Welcome to Think and Grow You Rich, a online study group designed to help everyone who's part of it to unprogram from the money matrix, from lack consciousness and scarcity consciousness that, a huge proportion of people live in and grow up in and sort of assume is normal. So we're reading from this book to help unprogram from that and use the kind of collective energy of a mastermind to sort of just move beyond that matrix even faster than normal. So hi everyone.
Hi Sandy.
How you all doing?
Good.
Cool. I have to warn you, I'm like so excited today. I feel like a child that just woke up on Christmas Day. And Jackie's disappeared, but that's okay. So it's Friday, so we'll read a bit from the book and chat, and then also just go through, how everyone's habits are coming along. So it makes it sound like we're all drug users, but we're not. Don't worry if you're just new to the show. Well, so the study group, not really a show. So who is anybody bursting to read or not so much? I could read, I don't mind. Geraldine, you're good to read?
Yeah, I could read. I'll just say, yeah, I'll do it.
Perfect. Okay. I just realized I forgot to check what page we're on. I think we're on page 175. I'll just double check that. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not. We're on... Oh, hang on. We're on page 173. Seldom does an individual enter upon highly creative efforts before... Oh, no, we just read that. So... Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is it. We're at the part where it says, sex alone is a mighty urge to action. On page 174, so the second paragraph from the top. And if you're watching this for the first time, I feel like there might be someone new. There's a group copy in the Facebook group that you can download for free in case you want to have your own copy. But we're obviously going to share the screen here, so go for it, Geraldine, whenever you're ready.
Okay. 174, is it?
Yeah, seldom does, yeah.
Whoops, I forgot.
Marianne, sex alone is a mighty urge to action.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I forgot it was muted. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. So sex alone is a mighty urge to action, but if forces are like a cyclone, they are often uncontrollable. When the emotion of love begins to mix itself with the emotion of sex, the result is calmness of purpose, poise, accuracy of judgment, and balance. What people who has attained to the age of 40 is so unfortunate as to be unable to analyze these statements and to corroborate them by his own experience. When driven by his desire to please a woman, based solely upon the emotion of sex, a man may be, and usually is, capable of great achievement, but his actions are distorted and totally destructive. When driven by his desire to please a woman, based upon the motive of sex alone, a man may steal, cheat, and even commit murder. But when the emotion of love is mixed with the emotion of sex, that same man will guide his actions with more sanity, balance, and reason. Criminologists have discovered that the most hardened criminals can be reformed through the influence of a woman's love. There is no record of a criminal having been reformed solely through the sex influence. These facts are well known, but their cause is not. Reformation comes, if at all, through the heart or the emotional side of man or woman, not through their head or reasoning side. Reformation means a change of heart. It does not mean a change of head. A person may, because of reason, make certain changes in their personal conduct to avoid the consequences of undesirable effects, but genuine reformation comes only through a change of heart, through a desire to change. Love, romance, and sex are all emotions capable of driving people to heights of superachievement. Love is the emotion which serves as a safety valve and ensures balance, poise, and constructive effort. When combined, these three emotions may lift one to the altitude of a genius. There are genii, however, who know but little of the emotion of love. Most of them may be found engaged in some form of action which is destructive, or at least not based. Yet, a dozen genii could be named in the field of industry and finance who ride ruthlessly over the rights of their fellow people. They seem totally lacking in conscience. The reader can easily supply his own list of such men. The emotions are states of mind. Nature has provided man with a chemistry of the mind, which operates in a manner similar to the principle of chemistry of matter. It is a well-known fact that, through the aid of chemistry of matter, a chemist may create a deadly poison by mixing certain elements, none of which are in themselves harmful in the right proportions. The emotions may likewise be combined so as to create a deadly poison. The emotion of sex and jealousy, when mixed, may turn a person into an insane beast. The presence of any one or more of the destructive emotions in the human mind, through the chemistry of the mind, sets up a poison which may destroy one's sense of justice and fairness. In extreme cases, the presence of any combination of these emotions in the mind may destroy one's reason. The road to genius consists of the development, control, and use of sex, love, and romance. Briefly, the process may be started as follows. Encourage the presence of these emotions as the dominating thoughts in one's mind, and discourage the presence of all other destructive emotions. The mind is a creature of habit. It thrives upon the dominating thoughts fed it. Through the faculty of willpower, one may discourage the presence of any emotion and encourage the presence of another. Control of the mind through the power of will is not difficult. Control comes from persistence and habit. The secret of control lies in understanding the process of transmutation. When any negative emotion presents itself in one's mind, it can be transmuted into a positive or constructive emotion by the simple procedure of changing one's thoughts. There is no other road to genius than through voluntary self-effort. A man may attain to great heights of financial and business achievement solely by the driving force of sex energy. But history is filled with evidence that they may, and usually do, carry with them certain traits of character which rob them of the ability to either hold or enjoy their future. This is worthy of analysis, thought, and meditation, for it states a truth, the knowledge of which may be helpful to women as well as men. Ignorance of this has cost thousands of people the privilege of happiness, even though they possess riches. These emotions of love and sex leave their unmistakable marks upon the features. Moreover, the signs are so visible that all who wish may read them. The person who is driven by the storm of passion based upon sex desire alone plainly advertises the fact to the entire world by the expression on of their eyes and the lines on their face. The emotion of love, when mixed with the emotion of sex, softens, modifies, and beautifies the facial expression. No character analysis is needed to tell you this. You may observe it for yourself. The emotion of love brings out and develops the artistic and aesthetic nature of a person. It leaves its impress upon one's very soul, even after the fire has been subdued by time and circumstances. Memories of love never pass. They linger, guide, and influence long after the source of stimulation has faded. There is nothing new in this. Every person, genuine love, knows that it leaves enduring traces upon the human heart. The effect of love endures, because love is spiritual in nature. The person who cannot be stimulated to great heights of achievement by love is hopeless, dead though they seem to live. Even the memories of love are sufficient to lift one to the highest plane of creative effort. The major force of love may spread itself and pass away, like a fire which has burned itself out, but it leaves behind indelible marks as evidence that it passed that way. Its departure often prepares the human heart for a still greater love. Go back into your yesteryears at times and bathe your mind in the beautiful memories of past love. It will soften the influence of the present worries and annoyances. It will give you a source of escape from the unpleasant realities of life, and maybe, who knows, your mind will yield to you during this temporary retreat into the world of fantasy, ideas, or plans which may change the entire financial or spiritual status of your life. If you believe yourself unfortunate because you have loved and lost, perish the thought. One who has loved truly can never lose entirely. Love is whimsical and temperamental. Its nature is ephemeral and transitory. It comes when it pleases and goes away without warning. Accept and enjoy it while it remains, but spend no time worrying about its departure. Worry will never bring it back. Dismiss also the thought that love never comes but once. Love may come and go, times without number, but there are no two love experiences which affect one in just the same way. There may be, and there usually is, one love experience which leaves a deeper imprint on the heart than all others. But all love experiences are beneficial, except to the person who becomes resentful and cynical when love makes its departure. There should be no disappointment over love, and there would be none if people understood the difference between the emotions of love and sex. The major difference is that love is spiritual, while sex is biological. No experience which touches the human heart with the spiritual force can possibly be harmful except through ignorance and jealousy. Love is, without question, life's greatest experience. It brings one into communion with infinite intelligence when mixed with the emotions of romance and far up the ladder of creative effort. The emotions of love, sex, and romance are sides of the eternal triangle of achievement, building genius. Nature creates genii through no other force. Love is an emotion with many sides, shades, and colors. The love which one feels for parents or children is quite different from that which one feels for one's sweetheart. The one is mixed with the emotion of sex, while the other is not. The love which one feels in true friendship is not the same as that felt for one's sweetheart, parents, or children, but it too is a form of love. Then there is the emotion of love for things inanimate, such as the love of nature's handiwork. But the most intense and burning of all these various kinds of love is the experience in the blending of the emotions of love and sex. Marriages not blessed with the eternal affinity of love, properly balanced and proportioned with sex, cannot be happy ones and seldom endure. Love alone will not bring happiness in marriage, nor will sex alone. When these two beautiful emotions are blended, marriage may bring about a state of mind closest to the spiritual that one may ever know on this earthly plane. When the emotion of romance is added to those of love and sex, the obstructions between the finite mind of man and the infinite intelligence are removed. Then a genius has been born. What a different story it is than those usually associated with the emotion of sex. Here is an interpretation of the emotion which lifts it out of the commonplace and makes of it potter's clay in the hands of God, from which he fashions all that is beautiful and inspiring. It is an interpretation which would, when properly understood, bring harmony out of the chaos which exists in too many marriages. The disharmony, often expressed in the form of nagging, may usually be traced to a lack of knowledge on the subject of sex, which love, romance, and the proper understanding of the emotion and function of sex abide. There is no disharmony between married people. Fortunate is the husband. Will I stay there? Stop there?
Yeah, I think that's a good spot because then there's about another page and a half before the end. So we can keep going with that on Monday because it's quite a lot more and there's no like chunks. So we just have time to talk about the habits too. Thank you so much, Geraldine.
Yeah, thank you, Geraldine.
I love listening to your Irish accent. I always say it to you.
I do too. Yeah, I love the Irish lilt.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I could listen to you talk. Like, could you read the next chapter? Can you imagine? We'd be like 1 o'clock. Geraldine's still reading. Sammy, can I stop now? No. Keep going. Oh, so any awarenesses as you heard this chapter, everyone?
Wow, I think he's really kind of covered a lot of ground on that. You know, looking back over the perspective of my life, you know, I mean, it's pretty significant for young people to get that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, to really get it, you know.
The importance of like a happy partnership and the balance, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked what he said as well about don't worry, you know, if love isn't there or like worrying about it, because I've noticed this a lot with my own friends. I remember so much like when I was at school years ago, I had a friend who was always saying, I really want a boyfriend, I really want a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was already like 16 or something, and I couldn't understand why she was so like bothered about it. I just remember thinking, we've got our whole lives to live. You know, you'll have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she met her boyfriend 2 weeks later, and they're now married.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she fulfilled that. I mean, she created that, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I guess you'd have to say, you know.
Everything, but it was so funny. It's like, you know, I think what he says about just kind of relax and trust that the right people will come is a great way of looking at it. Because sometimes you meet people that are very sort of concerned about it and think about it a lot, and I think it almost pushes it away because you're thinking about it so much.
Sure, and you know, also I think what he said about don't be resentful about loves that you have had in the past that maybe ended, right, and things like that. You know, you never lose in any of those because you basically grow from them. I think that's a great observation. You know.
Yeah, and his idea of like kind of going back into that energy, like he called it retreating into the past.
Yeah.
I think you can also look at it as like reconnecting to an energy that you had with someone.
Yes.
That gives you inspiration right now, even if you're not together or.
Sure.
Yeah, like I think that's really powerful because I'd never thought of it like that. You know, you tend to think that if something's in the past, you shouldn't go back. I don't really.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a building block. It's a building block in your life, right? It is.
Yeah.
It really is powerful, and that goes for not just people that you've been romantically involved with, but people that you've known in your life that you've loved strongly and that have passed. Let's say, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Do you guys want to share anything? Did anything come to your mind about this before I move on to habits?
I just found it kind of inspiring that that love is featured in something like, money. I suppose
Yeah.
I had the point of view that people who are into earning money wouldn't be so in touch with the whole love and spirituality. So I do find that quite heartening that there's that real spiritual aspect of it and that love. And he actually says without the love, it's just ruthless and it's not sustainable. They're earning, they're kind of attracting money that is sustainable because it comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Geraldine, because actually now you say that, I remember working in, as a student, I lived in central London. I went to university there, and I got a part-time job. Sorry, that's my dog playing with the neighbour. I got a part-time job in a big city firm, like the financial city of London. And most of the office were guys. They were making huge amounts of money, compared to what. Well, it's still actually compared to most salaries, like 6 figures was kind of like the minimum. And they worked insane hours, like literally 15-hour days, Monday to Friday, often coming into the office at the weekends. And I don't think they really prioritized, most of them, this love energy at all, because some of them barely saw their wives, and their wives, the way they spoke about them, it was very kind of cliche, like the mum, the one taking care of the house and the kids, and I think I love Napoleon's approach because he's like, well, in fact, I know, and we kind of work with a couple, but just for people watching who might not know them, I have 2 friends, Abram and Nikki, that I can really see how this works out in their relationship because they're like they're a couple and they're in business together, but they really support each other and they appreciate each other, and you can tell that as a joint unit they've created a lot more than perhaps if they'd done it totally on their own. So yeah, thanks for saying that, Geraldine, because it is, it's not something that I think a lot of people get.
It kind of makes me think of like I've known a lot of people who feel like they need a man to complete them, or a lot of women that feel like they need a man to complete them. And I always think to them, a man's not going to be as wanting to be with you, and they're not going to look at you if you're totally dependent on them. You need to be strong in yourself before they're going to be interested in the real you. If you're going to find somebody, the person that you're looking for is looking for somebody who's on the same level with them. And if you're not strong in your own belief in yourself, you're not going to find that person. It seems very hard sometimes, especially women that don't have like a very good issue of self-esteem or self-confidence, and I just try to like think to them, if you go out and find it for your, if you're just looking for that person to fulfill you, it's going to be harder than if you fulfill yourself. That person's just going to walk into your life. You're going to find them a lot easier.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because like with the couple that I was just talking about, each of them has a very strong sense of self worth. Like they're both. You can tell that they come together and they create more as opposed to coming together and one lifting the other up. you know.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
you're right. There's a difference between the two, and what Napoleon's talking about is really where it's like two wizards, you know. Instead of flying on one wizard alone, it's like, oh, let's fly together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's actually made me, just to be honest, it's made me realize, oh, okay, maybe I should because I'm so kind of relaxed about whether I'm not in a relationship at the moment, and it's not something that I think about massively. But reading this chapter has actually made me think, well, hang on, maybe I should put it out there to the universe, you know, that this would be, I'd like to create something like that, you know, where the two wizards can fly together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
A worthwhile objective, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen it from the point of view that it could help my business before. Actually, I had started to see that from watching this couple and several other couples that I know as well, but
Yes.
I just see these guys more often than the others. So it's quite a fun perspective, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So does anybody want to share how it's going for them with their habit that they're cultivating? And just sorry, just 1 second. I'll just explain for people watching that might not know. We're basically focusing on one habit a month to that will support us in developing more prosperity consciousness. It could be anything, you know, like eating differently or reading a book or so everyone's got a different habit. So go for it, Geraldine.
Okay, so I did very well this week. I got up about 6:30 every morning and went for a walk and did qigong. So I last week I did one or the other, but this week I've started doing both. And actually, it's had the effect that I want to eat really healthy foods. So it has had a knock-on effect on what I'm eating as well. So and I just feel it really sets you up for the day. It gives you that really proactive sort of energy for the whole day when you get up and exercise like that. So yeah. Great.
That's like that speech you posted, Glenn, about get up and make your bed in the morning. Start out with one accomplishment, and then you'll accomplish things all day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does, and that's really powerful. Like what you said about it has a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
That's what also a lot of psychology reports have found, that it's a lot easier just to find a cornerstone habit that will ripple out to everything else than trying to do it all yourself. Yeah. And how about you guys, Glenn and Jackie?
Well, you know, I'm working on, I call it declutter now. Declutter.
Yeah.
I'm working on declutter, and I'm using Simpleology, by the way, and so I set it up for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I work an hour each day on that, and I've been making great success on it. Every work session on that. So moving ahead, well. And I'm happy with that because, you know, when you have clutter, it is a psychic drag on your energy, right? Moving forward.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is, you know. So I've said, well, I'll commit myself to doing that. I've got to get that kind of cleared out of my life so I can kind of put my mind to other tasks, you know.
Cool. And do you notice a difference, Glenn? Do you feel a bit like one of my friends, when he did that, he said he literally could feel his shoulders less.
Yeah, lightning. Yeah, you do. You feel a lightning from it, you know. And by the way, Simpleology is an interesting little program, right, to use. It is.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you know, it's only they have two versions. They have a pro version for $7 a month. Then they have an elite version for $57 a month. And I don't know. Right now, I'm on the elite because I've got the free month. But I'll take a look at what the $7 a month does, because I'm using it in its kind of simplest mode at this point. You know.
Yeah. Cool. And how about you, Jackie? Yours is to be decisive.
Mine's to be decisive, and I mean, I did pretty good this week. I didn't have any bad things that I didn't make a decision and didn't happen last week. So this week I think I was better about, I'm going to do this, and I just did it, and I stuck with everything that I decided to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Good.
How about you, Sandy?
Mine's been interesting. I established the problem wasn't getting up, or it kind of was, but it was more going to bed earlier and oh yeah, I had a breakthrough actually. Sorry, I was just thinking there was something I was going to share and it had gone. I realized that I don't have an issue waking up early, but what I haven't enjoyed getting up early so much is that I found I'm really groggy when I get up at like 6:30, and maybe that's just because I'm not used to it. And just I should say, like, mine is to get up earlier. I'm aiming for eventually. I'd love to be up at like 5:30.
Yeah.
Right now I'm aiming for 6:30. But actually, what I've started doing, because I noticed a good friend of mine on Facebook, she said that she wakes up early at 6 every morning with her husband, but they read for an hour. And I love being in bed, so I love like I just love that time of morning, like just looking at the sun coming in. So I thought, okay, what I'll do is instead of just getting up and jumping out of bed straight away and going out for a walk, which is what I've been doing, and sometimes not really feeling like it if it's cold outside, I'll wake up and read a book and even start writing on, because I'm actually writing a book. So I'll do half an hour on the book. So I've done that twice this week. And it did make a difference because when I woke up I was like, oh cool, I'll read my book now. And then I could watch the sun coming in. And we went for a walk at like 7 or something, 7:30. And I really enjoyed it. So I think that, especially in the winter, I think in the summer it's going to be easier and easier to get up. But where we are in the mountains, it's quite high up and it's a lot colder. So I was like, why don't I want to get up? And I was like, oh, it's because it's really cold. So little things like that, like noticing, you know, what's
giving
going on.
yourself some spiritual time, right? Giving yourself some spiritual time.
Yeah, because I just love to read. So especially at that time of day, it's like, it feels so indulgent because for years I've read last thing at night and I would just fall asleep after 2 pages.
Yeah.
But when you read when you wake up, you're so
you're ready to go.
Yeah, and then I felt so like I really felt like the book that I read. It's very similar to what we're reading, but it's a different guy. It's Wallace Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich, and it's basically like a philosophy book. And it's so like, it just really set me up for the day, you know, like Geraldine was saying, where something puts you in that energy. It really, it's cool.
Carries you forward.
Yeah, it really does. So, yeah, but I'm really enjoying having the focus of the group to help with the habit thing, because it did make me more committed than I would be normally, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to come along on Friday and be like,
yeah, right. Where's my week gone?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't get up once. Cool.
Well, you guys have a great weekend.
Yeah. You too. Thanks so much for coming out and for reading too, Geraldine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Geraldine.
Chico just wants to say hello.
Hi, Chico.
He was just there. I was like, he's like, feed me.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, by the way, my wife and I rescued a doggie this week, a little Shih Tzu.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah. So a new little heart in the family, you know.
Oh, you've adopted him.
Yeah.
Oh,
we rescued him. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. You'll be so happy.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like rescue dogs.
Yeah, I do too. You know, very special.
I miss my dogs. Good deal. You guys have a good weekend.
Yeah. All right,
Have a
everyone.
good weekend.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your new dog, Glenn.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.